So we follow a very 50-50 Raw this week with a very, very 50-50 NXT. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz, Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your NXT review, your post-takeover respect NXT, all the fallout, etc. Obviously, the show starts with a lot of highlights from TakeOver Respect. I mentioned this. Sorry, guys, my camera's doing a little bit of a slanty thing there. There we go. This is the thing. My the lens on my camera is on an angle, so I have to like set the camera on an angle so that the lens is flat. Add that to the long list of things you guys don't really care about. I said this on the Q&A, and I'll mention it again here because I really think it's worth mentioning again. I don't do pay-per-view reviews on this channel anymore. What I will say is go to soundcloud.com/WrestleRecap. Myself and Kristen, aka Black Cat Feline, did a pretty extensive review of TakeOver Respect. Awesome show. Great to be with her again doing that. I think it's going to be the thing going forward for the NXT shows. I mean, talking about regular pay-per-views, we can just do it in the preview of the next pay-per-view. Roddy Raw, I can hit on the high points when I do my Monday Night Raw. But this is something that's going to become a thing on their podcast. So, as I say, it's down in the box below, but please do go check Wrestle Recap out at soundcloud.com/Wrestle Recap. Lots of great highlights from the show, as I say. We start with Bayley, who comes out to You Deserve It, Women's Wrestling and Match of the Year chance. Talks about the match, talks about the importance of the rise of women's wrestling and how great it was to be in the main event, to do the Iron Man. Talks about how great it was to be on the same card as the Dusty Rhodes Invitational Tournament Finals, and talks about what Dusty Rhodes meant to the NXT talent and what he meant to NXT as a whole. Talks about the Divas Revolution, how it started in NXT and we see it on the main roster. It's all good. And then, much to the delight of my buddy Guapo, we get interrupted not by Sasha Banks, but by Alexa Bliss with Blake and Murphy in tow, and she gets hard boos. This is where I want to give Bayley a lot of credit. Bayley, I've said it, I have a ridiculous amount of respect for Bayley. I really do. I don't think her gimmick will work on the main roster, and honestly, I find her a little awkward on the mic. But the crowd in NXT love her. Anybody that does anything to Bayley is instantly a heel. If you want to be a heel, you can either find a 5-year-old orphan and tell them that you hope their puppy gets cancer, or you can have a match with Bayley. This is how it is. She comes out sort of genuine at first, and this is what I love about NXT, how you can tell when they're being genuine and congratulating each other, and then they snap back into character mode. We saw that in the Iron Man match at Respect, when it started off respectful and then Sasha Banks went boss mode. But she comes out. Last week was incredible. No one deserves this more than you. I'm happy to share with you in this future of that the NXT Women's Division has. And she even leads a sarcastic cheer for Bayley. But then she yanks away the belt from Bayley as Bayley tries to reach for Blake and Murphy step in front of her. So, you know, big massive human wall so she can cut the rest of her promo. One thing I won't be sharing is this, and holds up the belt. Says, I'm not like you. I might not have wanted this since I was 10, but I do want it now, making fun of her story, etc., which is great. People like you aren't meant to be champion. Your life will be easier when I take this from you. Drops the mic, leaves, throws the belt back in Bayley's face. I think it's safe to say that if this is how we're going forward, then Sasha Banks, stay up on Raw, NXT will be just fine. We replay the Samoa Joe and Finn Balor interview from WWE.com from after they won the Dusty Classic, talking about how much it means, them being interrupted by William Regal, and talking about the fact that tonight there's going to be a battle royal for the new #1 contender for the NXT Championship, because Samoa Joe is trying in that same interview to tell Finn, hey, it was an honor to be your partner. It was an honor to win this prestigious award with you and honor Dusty Rhodes and all that sort of thing. But I'm here for one thing. I'm not a tag team guy. I'm here for that belt. And William Regal says, well, you're going to be in the Battle Royal next week, and sorry about your luck. Due to current news, should I make a sorry about your damn luck joke? No, TNA fans will cry. Vaude Villains versus Sawyer Fulton and Angelo Dawkins. I really tried to care about this match, guys. I really did. Sawyer Fulton looks like an idiot with a 3-braid mohawk. Why? I don't... He looks like a tank. He looks like a tank. He looks like he should be killing people, but he's going to get the Sheamus chance if that shit doesn't stop. Angelo Dawkins is Angelo Dawkins, and that's great for him, I suppose. English and Dawson start. Dawkins works the arm. Why are we doing the thing with the light? There we go. Dawkins works the arm, but English mocks him. Like, he's got him in an arm rig, so English, while he's got his arm barred, starts doing squats, and the crowd starts clapping along with the beat, and it's all great. Arm drag, arm bar combination by English, mudhole by Dawkins, corner beat down by Fulton, slam by Dawkins, and a top rope elbow by Fulton. It's great. I don't care about these guys, but they did do some good shit in the match. I'll give them that. I will pull back and I will say that much. Fulton rides a headlock for what seems like an age. Fulton and Dawkins both miss corner splashes, and we get the hot tag to Gotch. Punches, headbutts, knees, and kicks, all by Gotch. Corner elbow and a capture suplex by Gotch. Whirling dervish by the Vaude Villains, and the Vaude Villains get the win. And you think somebody's going to interfere? They don't. You think they're going to cut a promo? They don't. We go to the back, and Dash and Dawson, who pretty much fit in the same category as Fulton and Dawkins, honestly, they talk some shit in the back. They talk some shit about the Vaude Villains and how they beat them in the Dusty tournament, which is a thing. And then they turn their attention, for no real explained reason, to Enzo and Cass. They say, oh, we should be the number one contenders because we beat them. In our minds, we already are the champions. But right now, we've got Enzo and Cass in our pathway. Never really understand or take the moment to explain why they've got Enzo and Cass in their pathway now, but apparently they do. And that's it. We see highlights of the debut of Asuka versus Dana Brooke, which is great. Asuka, fantastic. My thoughts on her, like I said, go back and check out the podcast. Very, very cool to see, like, WWE pulling away from the stereotypes a little bit. Typically, Chinese, Japanese superstars would come in. They'd be very traditional, very somber, very, neutral, eyes on the prize, task-oriented wrestlers. But she showed some character. She's got the crazy eyes. She is 2015 Melina, as one of the things I said on the podcast. And she's got a sense of humor, which is cool and not quite expected. At the same time, she's got a very traditional entrance with modern music. It's I'm not saying pull away from tradition, mix tradition with the fact that it's 2015. And I think they did that quite well with the way they presented Asuka. And Dana Brooke, although she's not going to be the focus of anybody else's thoughts in this match, Dana Brooke looked good. She's not great. Yes, she's still green. Yes, she's still a bodybuilder learning to wrestle. I get that. But power wrestlers aren't the most exciting people at the best of times. So right now, as they're playing her up as this power wrestler, it doesn't really show, or at least it doesn't in my opinion. And anytime you see Dana Brooke, you get hot heel Emma, which is never a bad thing, is it? We see the debut of Nia Jax. Yay. Oh. This is not a one and done. I'm not impressed with this girl. But I'm going to get so much heat for this. I'm going to get shit on for this. I know it. They put her up against another girl that was also debuting and not nearly the focus of the attention. This girl, Evie, who's about a third of the size of Nia Jax. I will say this the most polite way I can. We are used to divas, and that is a bad thing. When people like ODB, when people like Karma, when people like even Beth Phoenix, Natalia Neidhart to a certain extent, when people like that come along, it really shows us how used we are to the diva image. And that's bad. I get that. But she's a big girl, and they make a big point of the fact that she's got the Samoan heritage, she's directly related to The Rock and Roddy Roddy Rah. Her ring attire is horrible. Her entrance is not great. And they've sort of given her Ryback booking. She's got her debut match. She's going to squash somebody that's a third her size. None of that is impressive. I cheered for Evie in this match. That's all I can say, and I'm pretty sure she was brought in tonight to be a jobber. But if I cheered the jobber, you haven't debuted your new debuting talent very well. this is polar opposite to what they did for Asuka at Respect. But here we go. Like I say, the size difference is just laughable. Collar and elbow tie-up, and Nia tosses Evie across the ring. Obviously, Evie tries and fails a couple of clotheslines, and she just kind of laughs. Picture any of the knockouts in TNA facing Awesome Kong. It's that kind of a bear hug by Nia, which, again, like the previous match, seems to last forever. Evie eventually elbows out of it. Again, I want to say this in the most polite way possible, and it is a trend with the Samoan wrestlers. Gets Evie in the corner, and, to put it politely, executes a rear end first corner splash. And I say that because I really don't feel nice saying she threw her ass at Evie. But that's basically what she did. And then she drags her to the center of the ring by her hair and hip checks her in the head, which is innovative, if nothing else. I will give her that. Lots and lots and lots of almost Daniel Bryan silly kicks from Eve go completely unsold by this new giant, and she wins with... I just did my video on Charlotte a little while ago. I've said the same thing about Natalya. Don't hit over the head too hard who these people are related to. Mention it, talk about it as part of their story, but don't hit it over the head. She won with a modified rock bottom and a really, really awkward pinning roll-up combination. And I'm not impressed. I'm really not. I don't hate this girl. I really don't. I wish her the best. I hope everything that I've mentioned here gets fixed by the next time she has a match. And I wish better for her than this debut gave her. Is the best way I could say it. The whoever typically does all the planning, all the booking, whoever did Finn Balor's debut, whoever did Samoa Joe's debut, Kevin Owens' debut on the main roster, whoever set up Asuka's debut last week was sleeping this week. And this was not a good way to debut Nia Jax. And I hope she gets better in the future. We see more replay from the Iron Man match, from the Iron Match highlights. Apparently, and I heard this on the Taz podcast, so I don't know how true it is or not. Apparently, the one person who went to Triple H to convince him to not call this an Iron Woman match was Lita. Now, you guys know I have an immense respect for Lita. One of my favorite divas or women's wrestlers of all time. That's a fact. Her versus Trish Stratus was the Rock Austin of the women's division in the Attitude Era. That cannot be denied. This was a dumb move, especially when the fans were telling you how they wanted it to be referred to. And that's just a little thing on my part. We have the Battle Royal, for which I really only have a couple of bullet points because it's really, really hard to do play-by-play on a Battle Royal. I will say the Battle Royal started off with a little bit of story from the Dusty Rhodes Invitational last week with Dash, Dawson, Corbin, and Rhino 4-on-1 on Samoa Joe, trying to get him out early. Pretty early in the match, because a Battle Royal is essentially a pile of people match. I've talked about this on this channel before. Pile of people matches are very hard to book because it is what it sounds like. It's just a pile of people, and eventually, if you've ever watched a Royal Rumble in your life, you know that it just ends up with a lot of punching, kicking, and a lot of mudhole stomping. But because of all that, and what leads me to believe that they should never do a Battle Royal on NXT again, is the fans get pissed at this, because they're used to good wrestling, and they chant zombie wrestling at all the wrestlers in the ring, which is never a good thing. We have a hype spot for Apollo Crews, where he eliminates Steve Cutler, who the hell is that? Danny Burch, who the hell is that? Elias Simpson, same theme, and Johnny Gargano, who's the first one I actually recognize in the match. Colin Cassidy eliminates somebody. Dash and Dawson take that opportunity to eliminate Cass. Enzo takes that opportunity to eliminate both Dash and Dawson, which is good. Enzo dances and gets tossed out by Ty Dillinger. Dempsey eliminates Dillinger, and we get a large bullfit chant. I hate that this gimmick is getting over. I do. Rhino eliminates Dempsey. Corbin eliminates Mojo, Ryder, and his partner Rhino. The whole time, we have a Let's Go Tyler chant for Tyler Breeze. Joe eliminates, I still don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm sorry, Masanto Ciampa? Ciampa? Something like that. Joe tosses out Blake and Murphy, because he can. The final four are Joe, Cruz, Breeze, and Corbin. Cruz and Corbin brawl in one corner. In the other corner, Tyler gets a super kick on Joe. A fury of hands and a Uranagi by Joe to Breeze, and Joe super kicks Breeze out of the match. To the biggest boos of the night. Corner chops by Joe to Corbin. Joe steps back and Cruz hits Corbin with a corner splash. Enziguri by Joe to Cruz. Corbin counters a muscle buster and knocks Joe to the apron. Tyler Breeze, who's still in the rampway, pulls Joe to the floor, eliminating him. And here's the thing. There was a lot of hype for Samoa Joe's debut. I was excited. We get a thank you Tyler chant for eliminating Samoa Joe. Cruz versus Corbin is the final two in the ring. Both tackle each other in both corners. Both men trade punches. A two-handed spinebuster chokeslam maneuver by Corbin gets a "We want Tyler" chant. Corner splash and a running clothesline by Cruz. Corbin blocks the standing moonsault with his knees, which looks painful, but Cruz rallies 3 enziguris by a guy his size and a clothesline out of the ring. Apollo Crews wins this match. Now, Apollo Crews is impressive. Don't get me wrong. But there was 3 guys that should have won this match. Two, I think you guys will agree with me on. 1, I will get an argument for because it's me. Samoa Joe, Tyler Breeze, Baron Corbin. Now, Samoa Joe, because the story is already there. Tyler Breeze, because Tyler Breeze is becoming the Dolph Ziggler of NXT, putting on awesome matches and never getting a win, and he deserves it. And the crowd was fucking behind him tonight like he was a babyface. Look at the gimmick Tyler Breeze has. For the crowd to be behind him, even though he has that gimmick, there has to be something there. And the last one is Baron Corbin. And nobody's going to agree with me on that one. Baron Corbin is light and day from what he was, a couple months ago. And because you can tell, Baron Corbin is NXT's Roman Reigns. The way Roman Reigns is getting pushed, maybe not quite ready for a main event scene or a title, but they want him to always be on your mind. So I wouldn't necessarily say send Corbin after Finn Balor and have him beat him, but have him have a feud with him. Have him have a couple of matches with him, fall short, go back to the mid-card, come back in a couple of months. Corbin, Joe, Tyler Breeze. Apollo Crews debuted 2 months ago. I don't get it. And I really do have to say that this was deflating as hell. Now, I will admit, trying to put somewhat of a silver lining on this, I am more deflated on this than I probably should be, because I thought, like everybody else thought, coming out of respect, that Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe was our next rivalry. And I don't want to be the guy, because there's enough of them out there already, that hate on something just because it wasn't what I predicted or what I thought was going to happen. I'm not. I don't have to be right. I'm wrong quite a bit. But if you're going to make me wrong, pull out something else that makes sense. If Tyler had gotten eliminated and the referee didn't see it, so he was out on the outside, pulled out Joe, got himself back in, and won this, I would have fucking loved that. Tyler Breeze versus Finn Balor. Take my fucking money. Baron Corbin versus Finn Balor could have been something. You could have had the cult following of Finn Balor versus the entire NXT universe's hate of Baron Corbin and created something really unique there. Samoa Joe, like I say, makes sense. The story is already there. You build a feud out of respect. There's no reason Apollo Crews needed to win this match. And that's why, along with a couple of other things tonight, I say that the regular NXT writing staff was on strike or taking a nap and let somebody else take over because, no pun intended, a lot of stuff on this show didn't make sense and didn't sit very well with me. Nia Jax deserved a better debut. I won't put it all on her. Her offense was a little bit limited, but this is developmental system, is it not? So she can improve on that. The way they presented her left a lot to be desired. Vaude Villains deserved a better opponent tonight. Honest to God, the only thing I was excited about on this show tonight, for me personally, I'm not saying for stories going forward or this makes sense because the YWC rulebook says this. Me personally, the only thing that tugged at the strings of my fan heart was the exchange between Bayley and Alexa Bliss at the beginning of the show. And that's not good because that was a talking segment, which NXT doesn't even do very often. So, willing to say that this is a bump in the road on what is usually a pretty great show, but damn, deflated as fuck. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger, I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye.
You're a freak like